episode 8 of Podcast Paradise, and this is your host, Max Paradise. Um, so today I was originally going to have, I was gonna have just Jonah and Dan, like we've had for, I don't know, what has it been, like 3 episodes we've done that now, and we're just gonna kind of talk about shoot the shit, talk about some stuff that's been happening in the world, but shortly before we were scheduled to record, the Kristaps Porzingis news broke in the NBA. So I had to get Kai on again. I had to just we ended up talking for about 25 minutes, just about Kristaps and the trade and the Knicks mindset, and then we ended up touching on free agency for a bit. Um, so I took that just kind of a 25-minute conversation, and I'm gonna uh, tack that onto the beginning of this episode. So if you're not into the NBA, just I don't know, just hit my hand on the desk. Skip about I don't know 25 minutes or so in, and you'll get to the conversation with me, Jonah, and Dan. I will say though, we had some tech issues during the me, Jonah, and Dan segment. It's definitely listenable. I don't know. The tech issues are over after about 5 minutes in, but there's just like kind of a little stretch there where shit gets fucked up. But whatever. It's I don't know. It is what it is. Um, so yeah, I guess without further ado, um, here is the segment with Kai. What's up, guys? And as promised, we have Kai Henson back again
In the building.
to discuss some of the recent craziness that's happened in the past 2 days,
Weird,
really.
weird NBA. Weird NBA.
Yeah,
Just everything.
so I guess we just start off with Porzingis, right?
What actually has happened? Yeah, that went down. The Knicks are just. I mean, I guess they kind of bowed their heads, or they're not the exact opposite of the Pelicans. I mean, he went in, talked to him. Couple hours later, all right, with his like probably best friend in the league down in Dallas, ready to make a new young duo.
Yeah, I like the conspiracy theory angle that he didn't actually request a trade, that they were actually
Hmm.
just shopping him the whole time and tried to blame him.
Yeah. Oh,
Because
okay. Okay.
did you see his
That does make sense.
yeah, he posted on like Instagram on his story and like deleted it right after, where he was like, "Oh, the truth will
The
come
truth will
out."
come out. Yeah, I did
Yeah,
see that. Yeah, I did see that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird. I mean, I feel like every time that something like that is reported, it's just like really, like, number one, like, do players even do that? Number two, if they did, like, who would actually find out? Like, it's like, I don't know. But yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah. So I feel like I should just give you the floor right now, and you should just give your thoughts on Porzingis as a
Um,
as a New York resident. I feel like we can call you that.
yeah, definitely. I mean, my thoughts on just like the situation as a whole, like, or him as a player.
For from
Um,
for a for the like, give me the temperature from like the Knicks fan perspective
Knicks
of
fans
just.
are already burning Kristaps jerseys. Um, but yeah, I mean, they don't like him, but I think they're happy with the trade. I mean, well, personally, I think the Knicks won the trade anyway.
Really?
But besides that, I think they're. I mean, he hasn't been playing, and I think it had been sort of known and felt like throughout the. I mean, Knicks like fandom that he wasn't exactly as happy. Um, Recently, especially not playing, and how just dismal the team is. So glad to see him go, but I think most fans are happy with the return. I saw Michael Rappaport had. I mean, had a little tirade about Porzingis on Twitter, which is pretty hilarious. But no, I mean, I think Knicks fans, as always, when a star leaves, are like, to hell with him. But I don't. I think they're pretty happy about the potential that this trade opens up, especially with the max contract slots, the space to sign free agents. I think that makes everyone happy around New York for sure.
See, that's interesting that you say that, because the immediate overwhelming reaction on Twitter and in the news cycle, and I tend to line up with this way of thinking, is that was not at all a good move for the Knicks.
I think the Knicks are convinced that they're going to get KD. I think they're. I mean, there are a lot of potential free. I mean, this is a lucrative free agent class this year, so the
Yeah.
potential of signing someone is there, and I think that's what they want. All in all, I mean, the quick rebuild is just like every team's idea, and I think especially them, they're hasty and just kind of, I don't know. The Knicks seem naive. Stephen Mills has been a solid GM in the league for a bit, but whenever it's somehow a seemingly trusted NBA mind gets in there, they somehow just make naive and strange moves. Or have strange thought processes. But no, I think they genuinely think that was probably a big part of it that made them more comfortable parting ways with him. That they think they're going to get the stars in return. And I mean, Dennis Smith Jr. can ball. He can really play. He's more efficient this season. He puts up numbers. He's a high flyer. Someone that the opposite of the Knicks' current point guards were kind of just like very slow and steady, not flashy, just sort of have some potential, are defensive minded, but are mostly just blah, where Dennis Smith can add a little pizzazz to the team. And he's just, I mean, he can be a scorer, especially, alongside some young players. I like Alonzo Trier, and if Kevin Knox can come around, I mean, he's been pretty awful, but he's super young and the potential is there. So I like that. And with Jordan and Matthews, they'll play this year. It depends. Maybe it's a tryout to see if the Knicks would actually be interested in signing him. But I know, pretty sure they're expiring contracts, so that's beneficial to them to just get more cap. Like they're just dumping cap space to really. I think they're trying to make a hard push at free agency, and I think that's the backbone of this deal, all in all. Also, with Porzingis is unhappy.
If they don't get anyone, that's just a complete debacle.
Then that when it goes, it takes away from it as a whole. But I mean, the two first round picks are big, and then they're still going to have a good chance the number one pick this season. So I think they're trending more towards relevance than they were before they made the trade. I think that could be said, and I think that's what they're probably going to hang their hats on, to be honest.
I don't know, because didn't the Lakers do this like 2, 3, 4 years ago, where they opened up like a ton of cap space, and wasn't that the year they got Timofey Mozgov and Luol Deng? Like,
yeah, that's a complete flop. I mean, that was god awful, and then they eventually paid like Luol Deng more money just to sit out, or like they bought him out, but they paid a good amount. I mean, he is probably still getting that LA money. I mean, that was god awful. That was god awful, and I think that's just a probably. I mean, yeah, you could easily say dumb risk that a tanking team takes, but I don't know. I think they're convinced they're going to get KD. I think that's what their focus probably is. In all honesty, either that or Kawhi. And I mentioned the last time I was on about the potential of Kawhi coming to New York, how we spend a lot of time here. So maybe that's also in the back of their minds. It's probably one of those two. They want to bring a star here.
Room for both.
Exactly. So that would just be something insane. That would be crazy. But if they can pull that off, then everyone will call their front office geniuses, and it's going to be the best thing they've ever done. So they're taking a gamble, but I think they're definitely confident in about the summer. Confident about the summer, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. And I think something that I haven't really heard anybody mention is people, they act like that that it's a lock that he's going to be fine, and that he's not injury prone, and that the injury hasn't affected his productivity.
Yeah.
Like even when he was before he went down with the injury last year, he was someone who kind of wore down the more they pushed him in the season.
Yeah,
he just might not be a durable player.
Yeah, and I mean he's pencil thin. I mean he's put on some weight since he came to that. He's long and lanky. Those guys are never have the best durability, that's for sure. So I think that's definitely a question mark, and the fact it's a big question if he'll come back as as quality of a player as he was before the injury. That it could be a big question mark. But I mean, I think Dallas didn't. If I'm saying the Knicks won the trade, I was like, Dallas didn't really lose. I mean, they got there's no lose. I guess personally, I'd say there's no real loser. They both kind of did what one of the best things that either of them could do. I think the Knicks kind of had to get rid of him. It seemed like it wasn't going to really work out, and he wasn't going to want to resign, so they have to get something for him.
Well, they would have had a whole nother season of him. He couldn't have just. He would have either signed the qualifying offer or gone into restricted free agency. They would have had at least another guaranteed season.
That's true. But I mean, I guess they didn't want to keep him around if he wasn't happy and didn't want to commit long term. So
I guess I don't know. It's funny because I feel like it was a bad trade for them, but also like in my head, my gut feeling is that KD is going there.
Yeah, I mean, if my gut, like I'm just gonna stay in Golden State, and it's not even gonna be like news. It'll be just whatever, like not even exciting. But there is definitely a very good chance he leaves, especially after some of the interesting situations from earlier in the season. So yeah, and in my mind, New York just seems like the most logical and number one place for him. I mean, if he wants to, retake over a team, have his own team again, and kind of start anew on a team that needs a complete revitalization, then the Knicks are exactly the market and the team to do so. And I think him and Dennis Smith Jr. could be a cool little
too, though. He has ties there as well because like Scott Perry was the one who drafted him with Seattle, and also his like I don't even know if you could call him business partner at this point. His business doubles partner is from New York, Rich Kleiman.
Okay.
Who's like his agent.
More so than I mean it to me it makes sense for to go there, and that puts them in the Eastern Conference playoffs. So and he knows that. So it's definitely on his mind as much as he's gonna say it's not.
Okay, so before we go, I want to do rapid fire. Just go through the 5 or 6 kind of marquee free agents and just real quick say where we think they're going to end up.
Okay, where we think they realistically will, or where we think they should.
Where they realistically will, I think.
Okay, all right.
So we'll start with Kevin Durant, I think.
Yeah.
So you
spoke for it already.
You think he stays?
I guess my gut feeling is like I would be a little surprised to see him leave. I think he's just it's so comfortable there, and it's just I think it will be broken up, but I don't know if I see him as the first to go. I don't know. I feel like if anyone would go first, it might be Draymond, or even in a weird way, Clay. I mean, he's got to be content where I could see him branching out and become, even being more of a player than he is now, expanding his. If he had an expanded role, I mean, he could do even more. I don't know if that is there's been it's not that there's been any inclinations that he really would leave, but I don't know. I don't know if I see Kevin Durant as the first to go. I think he's comfortable. He's definitely comfortable, but I feel like I just said, New York is probably number 2.
For me, I would go New York, just kind of like armchair psychology, where I just kind of say like it seems to me like trying to like get a read on him, because he's done a lot of like pretty candid interviews in a lot of ways, and he's been kind of public since the trade. It seems to me, just from kind of like reading between the lines and reading his emotions a little bit, it's like I almost feel like he felt that once he like won a championship or 2 in Golden State, that people would stop hating him and he would go back to like the Oklahoma City, like love superstar. But he hasn't done that, and I think that's bothering him. I think that's why he was like, when he did the thing where people found his burner account and he was like responding to all these emails. Like, I think that's what it was. I think he got into a really bad headspace. Because he was like disillusioned. Like, he thought like, oh, I won the Finals MVP. I went toe to toe with LeBron and kind of played him to a standstill in the finals. And people still hate
why
me.
don't people love me? Exactly.
So yeah, for me, I would just I think I'm leaning towards New York.
That does, yeah. I definitely it will be. I feel like it would be a definitely a positively received move if he goes to New York. People would his love would go up if that's if that's something that you is one of his maybe not maybe priorities or just things that weighs on his decision. New York would be people would definitely like that. I mean, the, it's just natural to root for to make the Knicks relevant again, to bring a team to go on a
Yeah.
team, make okay, give you okay, you're taking that challenge on. You're not just joining the best team anymore, taking the easy route. You're trying to prove to us again that you can do this on your own. You're a superstar who can totally do their own thing and run a team. So that's yes, even speaks more to the fact that the chances of him to the Knicks have to be really high.
All right, so I think that's a good segue for Klay Thompson. What do you
Yeah.
what do you see for him?
Damn. Besides, I don't know.
I think I think he's a lock to stay. I don't.
Yeah, I would say I be Golden State. If he were to go, I don't even know where to start because that's what kind of I guess makes it a lock to stay. Like you said, like if I don't even know exactly where to start. Where else would even entice him? Especially at the moment. Yeah, he's a Golden State Warrior. I think that is a fact.
Yeah, and I just think he's in the perfect situation because I actually disagree with you. I don't really think if you just gave Klay Thompson his own team, I don't think he'd even be better than what he is, like being one of three like elite shooters and just kind of getting that freedom of movement where he doesn't have to even be kind of the number one focus of like don't let that guy open. Like everyone's worried about Curry and he gives him a lot of opportunity to like kind of
To
play off that in
yeah,
that
kind of fall
sense.
into the shadows and get his shots and just put up the numbers that he does put up. Yeah,
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 exactly.
no,
And win
yeah, that does
games.
make sense. Exactly. The the path to the championship is always that's the place to be. So
hmm All right, what about Kawhi Leonard?
Kawhi Leonard, um, I don't know. I kind of I don't know. I kind of want to say LA, but then again, like it just depends on what happens with AD because he obviously wants to go there. Who knows if that'll even come to fruition? I mean, the Lakers have you would assume the Lakers have the pieces to pry him away, but I feel like Kawhi and LeBron would definitely be interested in playing together. I know that's been talked about a lot before, but I guess if not Toronto, I guess my number one, I would say LA for Kawhi.
See, for me, I feel like he's another person who's kind of linked to New York for me. Like I mentioned on the
Mm.
last show, where his uncle is from New York, where he went when he wasn't with the Spurs, and
Yeah, he was in New York for
he was
a
in New
time.
York,
Mm-hmm.
and I just see, I want to say Brooklyn, just because
That would be
I want to
that.
say because they're more competently run, they have space to
Mm-hmm.
add him, they have really good players. But the thing is if they do get KD, I feel isn't it? Don't you think it's hard for Kawhi to just be like, yeah, I'm gonna go to Brooklyn, like instead of like New York where you can be the
Yeah,
second
that's
superstar.
that's a thing. That's what I would say. I would say York hinges on KD or another star going there. I don't think he would go there on necessarily on his own. But if KD's there, I think that like you said, it just makes this like, well, yeah, let's do this then. Let's go to New York and mess around and win the East like this season. That would just be to make the most sense to him as opposed to going to Brooklyn and continuing to kind of build, especially going from Toronto, the contender in the East, already down to that. Whereas if KD is coming too, go to New York, I'm still a top one or two in the East, and just right there could then they're damn near title favorites if Kawhi and KD are there, and KD's no longer in Golden State. So there's a lot of movement. So I think other players' decisions definitely I mean, obviously have a lot of um,
hmm
weight on other players' decisions.
Yeah. So what about Kyrie Irving?
Kyrie Irving,
He's
after
another one
what's
who's
going on
been linked to New
today,
York.
yeah, after what's going on today, it seems like he doesn't want to be in Boston.
See, I
So,
gotta say though, that interview it seemed like he was more upset about getting asked the question over and over again.
Yeah, so where kind of being short, not yeah, like even after today, and even after saying that, I do. I don't really see him leaving Boston, because that is
I don't either.
regardless of how many young stars are there. That is still his team, and he's a star. And he fits there. The fans love him. It's a great situation for him. He's going to win games there.
Yeah, I
And
think a lot of it hinges on how well they do this season, how well they finish.
yeah, absolutely.
If
If they
they
fall
make the
apart,
finals, he's not leaving.
no, not at all. But if they fall apart, then it's like, ooh, because he definitely is probably maybe not upset, but not as pleased as he maybe assumed he would be after their slow start to the season. So it is definitely really hard to say. That's for sure. That is for sure.
And I think we should mention that with Kawhi too, is that if Toronto makes the finals, I think it's hard to see him leaving.
Absolutely no, because
What's going on back there?
no, you can hear literally everything in the hallway, like completely clear. It's thin. Some people, people are always wilding out. Not sure. Not sure. This, I guess, it's the problem with not being in a studio to do a podcast. You never know what you're gonna get. But Kyrie Irving, or we were talking about. Were you back on Kawhi?
I just wanted to say one last thing. I think we should try to tackle where do you think AD ends up? That's the toughest one. That's why I saved it for last.
Yeah, it is the toughest one. I don't like, because I just the pieces to actually pry him away. I don't, because New Orleans. I mean, there was one report where New Orleans isn't even picking up the phone on him at all, especially right after the rumors came out. So
I honestly can. The thing is once because you think about it, like, oh yeah, he could just, like, even if the Lakers don't trade for him, he could go there in free agency in 2 summers. But then you like step back and you remember, like, wait a minute, in 2 summers, LeBron James is going to be almost 36.
He's going to start to decline a little bit more. Yeah, doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it really does seem like unless they can get him now or in the summer, it's hard to see a way that he actually ends up there for me.
That does make sense. I mean, to me, I only see them in Boston as the only teams with the actual pieces to pry him away.
Well, apparently AD doesn't want to play for Boston because he doesn't think they're loyal to their players.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, his dad texted, all adding to the drama. Yeah, so that's it. But once again, with these players, I mean, I guess it makes sense at the end of the day, because you have opinions. Players are people; they have feelings. But like it sometimes does baffle me when these players make these statements or team lists when they don't have a no trade clause. It's like the team is going to trade you where it's best for them. It's not. You can just end up in Boston. It could just happen if the Pelicans get the best deal from them. I feel like if Davis is going somewhere, trade him this summer, or he's going to leave in free agency, and then he won't go to Boston, and then there could be a number of teams that could spring up, especially like you said with LA probably not being as likely of a destination if LeBron's aging like that. But I just don't think we should give as much weight to that. I guess with players just will just sit out nowadays. So maybe that you do have to take that into account more. But I don't know. That's my thoughts on players kind of trying to request places to be traded, not to sign.
Yeah, I feel like if you're the Celtics, you just kind of call that bluff. You're like, yeah, if we trade for you, we don't think you're gonna sit out and waste a year of your career.
Exactly, like that. What Jimmy Butler and Kawhi have done is extreme.
And they were. It wasn't like Jimmy Butler and Kawhi got traded and then sat out.
Exactly.
Like, Kawhi didn't want to go to Toronto, but he got traded to Toronto.
But it's like, I'm gonna
suit up and
play ball. basketball player. This is where I am now. Let's give this a shot. Yeah, he's gonna play. If he gets traded there, he's gonna play. So you can't rule it out just because of what his dad's saying. But because like I said, I mean, I just don't see any other team with the pieces. I don't that the Pelicans aren't gonna give him they're gonna have to damn near win the trade if they're gonna trade it.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe people like outside of like Celtics fandom don't realize this, but the Celtics have been like kind of internally planning for the day where they can finally trade for Anthony Davis for like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah,
it's like that all their assets they saved them.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, why don't they trade for DeMarcus Cousins, or why don't they trade for DeAndre Jordan or Kevin Love? And it's like, no, they're saving them for the day when
for
Anthony Davis comes available.
Yeah, the holy day.
I just feel like you can't be like, all right, well, he says he doesn't like Boston, so we can't trade for him. Like,
no, that. So honestly, if he's not number one, would be Boston as far as because those pieces, those assets, if they really want him that bad, and because they have the pieces to give up, where the Pelicans would be hard pressed to say no. So I guess if at the end of the day, if the point we're getting to is where will AD end up if he's getting traded this summer, I gotta say Boston.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I don't see New Orleans not trading him either.
Yeah,
I
would agree
with
you.
They're just gonna have to. They're not
agree with you there.
They're not. They've already kind of iced him for the rest of the season. They're not gonna do that again.
No, not at all. Not at all. That's ridiculous. Yeah, they're no.
All right. Well,
cool.
Yeah. So thanks for coming on.
Absolutely, good to be on again.
Yeah, kind of sussing out the thoughts of the most kind of recent drama in the NBA.
Yeah, the little whirlwind that's been leading up to the trade.
Yeah.
To give a shout out to D'Angelo Russell making the All-Star team, putting it on for BK. That's what's up. I'm definitely happy about that.
Yeah, it sucks though that the Oladipo injury in general is just
it's just heartbreaking.
Really bad.
That's god awful. That was hard to swallow. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like he just started kind of becoming one of the most likable stars in the league.
And yeah, the key word stars in the league. I mean, he is here. He has arrived, and boom, hurt. But I think he'll come back strong. He'll come back in PG fashion. Absolutely.
Yeah, hopefully. All right. Well, definitely good to talk to you, and
good to be here. And
definitely want to have you on again too. We're probably gonna have to do a trade deadline special.
Absolutely, trade deadline special.
Because that's there's probably gonna be some lunacy that happens there too.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Some things we're not even thinking now.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, take care.
Yeah, you too. See you later.
All right, that was the little conversation between me and Kai. Hope you liked it. And without further ado, here is the conversation between Jonah, me, and Dan. What's up, dudes? As promised, we are back with Jonah and Dan once again, becoming my my go-to guests. So why don't
thank you, Maxwell.
Yeah, why don't you say hello? Let the new ones know who you are.
Dan, you can go first, sweetie.
Hey, what's up? Glad to be back. What's up, Max?
What's up?
And hello, Podcast Paradise listeners. I'm Jonah O'Neill, coming to you from my dorm room. So what up?
Nice. All right. At the risk of just becoming a podcast that opens every single time with making fun of a rich person, I feel like we have. There was
that
a
could
story,
be our thing.
There was a story that I saw on this. When I saw the headline of it, I was like, I don't know how to process this. I don't.
Oh God, what is it?
So I'm just gonna read the headline to you.
Please do.
And I think it's better if I just say that, and then we kind of delve into the meat and potatoes here. Mark Zuckerberg killed a goat and served it to Jack Dorsey cold.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So here's the
All right.
backstory. Apparently, Mark Zuckerberg at one point was going through some sort of
Oh, is this his
fad.
phase?
He was
Oh,
going
I've
through
heard
some
of
sort of
this.
fad diet where he wanted to kill everything himself that he ate.
All right.
Apparently,
Okay.
mostly became him just like not eating meat very often because he didn't feel like killing it. But when he did eat meat, he killed it himself. And apparently, he had Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey over, and just kind of very nonchalantly, he stunned it with a stun gun and then killed it with a knife in front of him.
Oh my lord.
Wait, so it wasn't even like I don't know, sedated or anything. He
Nope.
was just like,
Nope.
Jesus. Oh my god. So this is, first of all, can I just say that this is not helping the case for him being a normal.
Yeah, I know. What? I'm at a loss to even understand what, like, he has people who can, like, he's rich. He's a billionaire. He has people who can be like, oh yeah, I know you're supposed to kill it yourself, but like we'll like, sedate it for you and like incapacitate it so you can just kind of like inject it with a syringe and kill it like you're putting down a dog or something. Like,
Well, you're not gonna want to eat meat that got tainted with that shit.
that's true, but either way, he could have shot. There's a better option than tasing it and then stabbing it with a knife.
well,
In
I
front
feel
of
like
someone.
I feel
In
like
front
this
of your
is.
dinner guest.
I feel like he's just so used to being like everything is done for him. He's like, I need to do something myself. I need to make something of this. He wanted it to be all him, and like, I don't know. Since he has people doing everything for him, he wanted one thing to just be his thing to do. And I guess that's goat killing, but to be
Oh, Zuck.
Yeah, I'm not sure
big. So.
why. I'm not sure what the purpose of it, honestly. Like, I understand if you like even diets that don't work. I understand like the theory of it, but I don't understand the theory of the diet of I'm gonna kill everything I eat. Do we lose you?
That diet of like where you only eat animals that would eat you.
The revenge diet.
Yeah.
Like it's
I don't know,
so pointless.
Yeah, I feel like what Zuck here is doing is less of a diet, more of a lifestyle. And again, like he's just like he's so far past. Yeah, I can do that. Like fuck. Like he can just. That's just. He's like, I can do this, so why don't I? Like I might as well.
I mean, I've released every single person on my website's information. I've seen some crazy shit. So I think I can get away with killing animals.
Yeah. What if he was reading through someone's Facebook Messenger?
All right, we had a little bit of a tech issue there, but I think we've worked through it. I'll take the blame for that. I'll take the blame for that. I had 6 tabs open when I probably shouldn't have. All right, so Zuckerberg. I think the last thing we were saying is like, what is the purpose of this diet that he's on? I don't. It's not even a diet. It's just like him.
Yeah, it's more of a lifestyle, like I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why? What is the benefit to him killing a
He's
goat
rich
with a
and
knife?
bored.
Yeah, he's rich and bored, and he has people. He always has people doing stuff. So he's like, I want to rough it out in the wilderness, but not actually. So kill a goat. Like he wants.
I want to rough it
do
out in
things
the
himself.
wilderness of Silicon Valley.
Silicon Alley.
Yeah.
Diagon Alley.
Oh, you know what I didn't realize until like very recently?
What?
Diagon Alley is supposed to be a pun.
Yeah, it's diagonally.
Yeah.
I did not realize that at all.
Max, your mic is sounding weird. Like you're turning into a robot.
Yeah, you are.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
100%.
It was like,
Oh no.
It sounded like the Snapchat voice.
All right, we had a little bit of a tech issue there, but we're back. What is it? 2 nights later, to continue the show.
We're doing our best.
Yeah, so I guess we're just gonna move on to the next topic because I guess we pretty much finished the Zuck
Yeah.
thing. That was just a little goof at the beginning. All right, so the next thing I wanted to talk about is I can't remember which college it was, but there's a college that has started implementing like food delivery robots.
Oh, I think I've seen this.
Yeah, across the
They look pretty
campus.
sick.
So like
Sounds right
you're
up your alley.
yeah, I know, right? I feel like this is a logical step because I cannot tell you how many instances where I was in like it was like I don't know 12 at night and it was like snowing outside and it was like dude I really don't want to go outside. I just want like a soda or something. And it's like those delivery bots would be perfect for that. It's such a logical next step for colleges. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel like they won't be like a 24-hour service because someone has to like put the things into the robot. Know what I mean? So like I feel like in your situation it might not apply.
I feel like that's when they would be most useful. Is like the place is like barely still open and they just have like one employee who works late night and all they do is just like man bots.
The max
Yeah, true.
shift.
I mean, yeah, that could definitely work.
Yeah.
But like, especially like, I mean, I totally get that because sometimes I'm with friends and like we want food and it's like, all right, I can order fucking like Postmates, but that's gonna take a while,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have to go outside in the cold and like wait on the street corner to get it. So
And
like,
I don't know how it is at your college, but like I would always have to like direct them around the campus over the phone.
no, I don't have to deal with that because mine's like Leslie's like integrated with the city pretty well, so it's just like I'm like, all right, just head down Everett Street, and they're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's just like a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Dude, at Hofstra it was bad because the GPS didn't like know like the landmarks there. So like one time there was like this Asian woman and her cell reception was terrible and I could barely understand her voice anyways. And she was asking for directions to like how to get to my location. It was like a 15-minute ordeal to like get it and eventually I was just like, "All right, stop where you are and just tell me the landmarks that you are near and I'll just walk to you because
Oh,
we're not getting
That
anywhere
sucks.
right now."
that's like the exact opposite of what you want from like a food ordering experience.
Yeah, it was tough. Um, Also, you know what I feel like would be a good thing is for when you order like pizza or whatever to the building, they should have like like it would obviously be such an easy job for like a student to have for them to be or they could even probably have like the person who I don't
Like an
at my
on-campus job.
yeah like at my
Are
school
you
they
talking
had
like a food receptionist?
yeah who like a bellman who just like takes the pizzas up to the floors. You know what I mean?
That'd be pretty sick.
And I feel like they could even have like the at my school they have someone who like I guess like monitors the door or whatever. They don't really do anything, but like they monitor the doors. They always have someone just like watching the door to every dorm. They could just do
Really?
that. They could be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go bring this pizza up to floor 7 or whatever."
Yeah, my school doesn't have guard snacks. Jeez.
Yeah, what the fuck?
They weren't
My school has like a card system.
They weren't guards.
Yeah, but like people monitoring who's going in and out. I've never seen that.
I just have a key
Really?
thing.
Yeah.
A card scanner.
Yeah, same with me.
There was like a person who like sat there and at 24/7 there was a person there. Like even at like 3:30 in the morning there was always someone like doing the morning shift. And they basically just sat on their laptop and watched Netflix and like watched the computer scan the cards.
I mean, I guess that makes sense because I know when I've been to Berkeley, like there's always a guy at the front desk. So I guess it makes sense for like colleges like more in
in
the
the front
city.
desk. Yeah, I have someone like that. Yeah, it's usually through like the RA program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have that at my school. We just walk the fuck in.
Yeah. Also, I've like thought about this a lot though. The guard doesn't really stop anything. They don't like. There's no real purpose to having them because all they do, the only real thing they do is like
They're there to call 911.
all
pretty
they
much.
all they really do is like if somebody new comes into the building who doesn't live there, um they like hold their ID. That's really all they're used for because if someone actually like came into the building with like even a knife, they could easily just like reach through the little hole where you put the card into to hand to them and like shank them.
I feel like it's more of a thing where it's just like their presence is there to deter people from doing anything.
Yeah, it's because like if some like gangbanger walks in, it's just like, hey, it's just and he sees
Also,
like a
highly
witness
likely
there.
situation.
Yeah, but sees a witness there, he's not gonna pull any shit because like the guys, he might think that they're gonna call the cops. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's more of just a
Yeah.
deterrent than like an actual security, like actually there to guard.
Yeah, like people would rather do crimes when no one's watching versus having a witness.
Also, Dan, I don't think it's like gangbangers coming into the school. I think it's just people who don't belong there going in.
No, that was an extreme example.
A very extreme example.
Well,
I was just thinking like a guy with like an AR-15 just walking.
Okay, well that's then there's no like that's not a deterrent if you're already like okay, I'm gonna shoot up this dorm tower. Like killing
Right.
killing the security guard is not a deterrent.
Well, my point still stands.
Yeah, no, and I see the gangbanger thing because now that you mention it, that is like what they
Well,
told
because you're
us.
in New York.
That's what they told us way at the beginning was like the reason they're. I'm remembering it now. The reason they're there is like for if you even if you don't live in the building, you can walk in the building and like pretend you go there if there's like somebody creepy following you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now it's coming back to me.
Yeah, because you're in the city, so a lot of creepy dudes.
Well, I was.
Yeah, now you're pretty safe.
I don't know, dude. Tiverton, shit's scary.
Hicksville.
Yeah.
Tivertucky? That's a bit much for me.
All right, you want to move on to the next topic?
Yeah.
All right, this is kind of the one serious topic I wanted to talk about. I think this will probably kind of dominate the show, to be honest. I feel like.
That's good.
So a discussion recently came up on Twitter, a few days ago, and the question was kind of posed, and you can see kind of what side is behind which answer, right? But the question was like people getting very up in arms and debating about how like who works harder, someone at a minimum wage job or a billionaire.
Okay, well, those are two very different types of work.
And
That's-
thus, the core of the issue was, does the billionaire have the right to say like, I got where I am because of hard work, and you're at the minimum wage job because you're not?
It depends.
I think they got where they are by hard work if they weren't born into it, but I don't think that's the second statement is super fair to say.
Yeah, like if you're born into it, you had more opportunities than anyone else did.
Mm-hmm. Well, for the sake of this discussion, it's about like
from the ground up.
Yeah, like people like Howard Schultz.
All right. And it's if they work harder on a daily basis during their job compared to the minimum wage worker.
The core of the issue really is like the way that people like Howard Schultz defend their billionaireism is by saying that they work to get where they are. And then a lot of people made the comparison like people at minimum wage jobs probably work harder than you. What makes it so that your work is worth so much more than theirs is the kind of the core of the conversation.
Oh, this is a toughie. Yeah, I think minimum wage work tends to be more physically taxing, and then I'm not like super sure about the ins and outs of like being a CAO, but I imagine that to be pretty mentally taxing. So I really don't think they're fair to compare, but like, I don't know.
Well, my opinion is that it depends on what kind of a billionaire you are. But we'll say your normal stereotypical billionaire, you tend to be making meetings, doing deals, I don't know, flying to different cities. And that can be really exciting stuff. But compare that to what a minimum wage worker does. That's not exciting at all. And I think there has to be some understanding about how taxing that is to the mind for, let's say, flipping a patty for 10 hours a day.
Yeah, I agree with that. For me, kind of for me it comes down to like I don't know, maybe I was the only one who like had this movie as a kid, but did you ever have that like movie where it was like I think it was claymation and it was like the cavemen and it was like the grunt cavemen and there was that one caveman who was like watching them push like giant boulders and in his thing was like why are you like working super hard to push this boulder like work smarter not harder and he used like a stick to use leverage to move the boulders and
Oh,
for me that's kind of what this is like the billionaires first of all they do a lot of them do put in a lot they work like especially during the period where they're going from like normal person job to like building their like business empire they work like 80 hours a week like they work
Yeah, that's like some dedication you
because
need for
yeah
that.
because
yeah,
they're
they get
they're
like
Like
3 hours
essentially
of
sort of.
sleep a night.
they're essentially working two jobs. They're working their normal like minimum wage job and then they're also trying to build their business in their spare time and like on breaks. And then I think that they're working smarter in a lot of ways. They're people who like there's a lot of not always, right? Like you always have your exceptions, but they're I feel like oftentimes to make someone go from minimum wage to a billionaire, you had to have done something pretty freaking exceptional to get
Yeah,
to that
definitely.
point that the average person can't do.
Well, you would have, what I think it is you would have had to have found a niche, something that everybody needs, and exploit that niche. So
Hmm.
you
But
were
yeah, but
able,
regardless of that, it's still a lot of work.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
it's a
lot
lot
of
of work to
work.
build it.
So I guess the billionaire does a lot more work up front and then they sort of coast for a long ass time, whereas the minimum wage worker is doing a pretty hefty amount of work consistently
Hmm.
But
and likely not graduating from that.
my input for the billionaire is I don't think there's any amount of work that's really worth $1 billion. I mean, you can say, yeah, I'm getting paid this much because I did such and such, but is it really worth $1 billion to
Oh,
do,
definitely not.
opposed to like just millions? I mean, even millions is plenty. You know what I'm
And then
saying?
like, yeah, well, that's sort of the situation of like, how much should like the rich be taking from their companies instead of giving back in? So
Hmm.
like, that's I think like saying how much their work is worth is a whole nother debate entirely. Whereas
Yeah.
like doing like how hard they work is kind of it's not really corresponding with what their work is actually worth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See, I feel like I've become kind of like in the minority opinion here But I lean more towards like pro billionaire than anti billionaire. Like I understand the value that has where like if you could never get to like 100 millionaire or billionaire level, what incentive would there be for people to make? I mean, not all companies are like this, right? Like you have like your McDonald's and your Burger King or your vitamin water or whatever. But you also have people who like actually do make like world-changing products and ideas and companies that like drastically accelerate the world, like Microsoft and Apple, for just like to throw two companies out there.
Yeah.
Um, for me,
Probably most famous too.
I feel like that incentive structure is like kind of needed, honestly.
I mean, I feel like it is needed, but not to the extent that we have it. And also,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of products like that were built out of a sense of wealth, or a desire of wealth. I mean, they're more built out of, I see a void that I can fill with my product, because like it's more of,
It's a passion.
yeah, it's more of a passion and more of wanting to advance the world. And I'm
Yeah,
sure
but
there's
would you?
plenty of advancements that have come like from a greedy perspective, but I feel like the monetary gain should still be there, definitely. But I think billion is a bit much.
I don't think it. I don't think it comes from. What I agree with you, where I don't think it comes from like the need to make money. I do think that people do it to like because they have like a just a great like feel and intuition for tech, but there's no way that they would have been as successful to the degree that they were if they didn't have the incentive structure to like absolutely rake in cash.
Yeah, well, I think they should be able to rake in cash, but like I feel like that should go back into the company and not go to the higher up.
Yeah, pay your workers.
Well, one, pay your
Yeah, of
workers, and
course.
two,
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's basic.
Yeah.
And to develop more products, because the money that Apple has, the phones could be so much better. Everything could be so much
Mhm.
higher
Yeah,
quality
I
material
agree.
wise,
Well,
and it could be sold at a lower price if they
that
just funded less money into the higher ups and more money into R&D and resourcing.
but I think
So I think it's just more about a redistribution. Sorry for cutting you off, Dan.
oh no, I was cutting you off, but I feel like I feel like with the Apple thing and how they're not improving their phones because of monetary purposes, I think it's really a way they manage being able to sell phones every year. And they do have innovations that they could be implementing as their phones. They just don't because they want to space it out and profit as much as possible.
Yeah, definitely. And also, like they like planned obsoleteness is totally a thing. And
Yeah.
so, well, like, if why would you if you want a phone to be obsolete in the near future, why would you give it all the bells and whistles? Like, if you know that you're just going to make a new one in the next year, and like, I hate the fact that people are buying that like stupid fucking plan where it's like, oh, pay this much a year and you'll get the new iPhone. Like, it's a subscription service.
I didn't even know that
Like,
existed.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's you pay a certain amount every year, and you get the newest iPhone when it comes out.
And do you trade in
So
your old one?
I think so. At least I assume so, but I could be wrong. But like that whole concept is so fucking stupid to me. Like imagine like just switch the product. Like imagine if Bose was like, hey, I see that you like our speakers. Buy the Bose subscription, and you can get new Bose speakers every time a new one comes out. But you have to trade in your old ones. Like that. Like everyone would be like, that's fucking stupid, unless like you're a DJ and like that would, or like an audiophile, and that like actually helps you. Like people don't need the newest iPhone every single year, but they want it as like a status symbol and as like a, hey, well, I have the money, I might as well just buy the newest one. I think it's real stupid.
Yeah,
It's a
I
waste of
don't.
money.
I don't want to get stuck on the phone thing again, because
Yeah, you
we
know,
did
I'll
that.
fuck with that.
We did that
I'll fuck with that for like a
a
long
couple
time.
shows ago. But yeah, I think I want to be clear. Like, once you get to that like obscene point, like if once you're at like Bezos pre-divorce level, it's very obvious that you
Even
should
post divorce.
like at that level, it's like he literally came out and said that he doesn't know. He has so much money he doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, so maybe do some good shit with it instead of hoarding.
Yeah, cure cancer.
I mean, that's a hefty ask, but like fund research or
He's got
pay
a hefty load.
workers,
Yeah, or
He's got a hefty load of
pay their
cash.
workers
or
give
hey,
aid,
fucking like
give aid to Flint.
yeah, like he could just snap
Anyone
his
can do.
fingers, that shit would be gone.
It astounds me that that's still going on.
Yeah, people always forget about it.
Yeah.
I even forgot about it until the girl in one of my classes like did a paper on it, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's still a thing. What the fuck?"
Yeah, that's been going on for like what 3 or 4 years now, right?
Yeah,
It could be longer than that, to be honest.
it's been a while.
Surprised.
It's been way too long.
Yep.
Yeah,
That
so
stuff shouldn't have been going on for like a month.
So I would say like for me, once you get like past a certain point, it's like yeah, and we do have a very clear like wealth inequality problem where
It's only getting worse.
things that on the lower end that do actually need help aren't getting it, and people at the top are getting richer and richer. But also I don't know if I'm for the whole like eradicate all billionaires movement. I don't know where that like threshold lies though, where like after this point it becomes obscene and before this point it's okay.
My thing is, I like the whole plan where they just get taxed a higher percent. Like that just makes sense to me.
They
Because
complain that
they're
it's not
raking
fair.
because they're raking in money at a
Yeah.
higher rate.
They
Whereas,
already do get taxed a lot higher.
yeah, but I'm saying even more.
Mhm.
Because like
70%.
they're still expanding at like an exponential rate, and while everyone else is still going linear, so like they're just gonna keep rocketing unless the government does something about that. I know it's like, oh, government control, everyone fucking hates that, but like there needs to be at least some.
And once again, they're not going to be spending all that money. I mean, let's
No,
be
it's just
honest
sitting
here.
there.
Yeah, it's literally just sitting there.
Yeah, this shit's ridiculous.
It's literally just a trophy. That's all it is.
Pretty much, it's a status symbol.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I don't know what like the ideal scenario is because like yeah, tax a higher percent, but where do you start? Like what income is the point where that sets off a ridiculously high tax?
That's definitely not something for us to figure out. let the the economics majors figure that out. Because that's a real rough question. Because you need to know a lot of logistics to figure that out. A lot of logistics that I have no idea about.
Like you can talk about our friend Mr. Bezos, where he is just wonderfully rich. But you look to his packaging plants, and all those people are getting paid fucking nothing. Like they deserve a lot more money for what they're doing. That's an intense job.
Yeah, I don't know what like the definitive cutoff is, but Bezos is past it. Like he's definitely he's definitely on like the hey buddy, you need to be stopped list.
Yeah, and
even
also
after the divorce.
I'd like to point out that I worked in a bread factory for a summer, and at this bread factory, people talked about how much shittier the Amazon warehouse was to work at.
And that
Oh
was
my
already
god,
a
you
shitty
hated
place.
that bread factory.
Jeez.
You like weren't even allowed to talk to people.
Well, you
And
could, but
Amazon
you
was.
couldn't hear them because the machinery was so loud.
Oh damn.
That's even worse.
Get a
To be
tin can and
honest.
some string, bud.
No, even if you were like right next to someone, you had to like scream.
God, that must have hurt your ears after a while.
Well, you had earplugs, but
But you guys are
true.
getting paid about the same as much as these packaging plant people are, if not more.
I think we got paid a little more. Yeah.
Yeah. I think at Amazon it's like 14 or 15 an hour.
They also, I don't know if you know this, but they have to wear like I don't know if they're watches or like what they are, but the word on the street is they have to wear like these things that keep track of their
Yeah, they're like
work,
monitors.
yeah, their work rate, and if they fall behind it, it's like serious
Well, that's why people didn't want to take bathroom breaks because like the monitor would like fuck with them. And it would
yeah,
like mess with their numbers.
If that's true, that's way too far.
that is
Yeah, that's
true.
true. That's dystopian.
Yeah, that is dystopian. I could see that on Black Mirror.
You could see that if you drive 30 minutes to the Amazon warehouse.
Yeah.
When my dad was looking for a job 2 years ago, my mom was like, "Oh, why don't you check out Amazon?" So we hopped on the internet, checked the wages, and I was like, "Dad, I'll be making around the same much as you do if you go to Amazon."
Damn.
And he was definitely not into doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I bet our job in the kitchen is a lot more fun than the Amazon plant.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, our job was fun.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for the last topic here before we wrap up? I know you want to get out of here soon, Dan.
Yeah, I'd prefer to.
It's a short one, but it's good.
Yeah. All right. Last thing I want to talk about. So there is a man. He has, like most people do, he has an emotional support animal.
Mm-hmm.
Except his is not a dog. It's actually an alligator.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know, like, I don't think he registered it. I think he just walks around with his alligator and says, like,
Okay, that's less sick.
and says, like, this is my emotional support alligator. But my question is, like, does he get to, like, carry that into, like establishments? Like, oh, yeah, this is, like, for my mental health. I'm, like, bringing my Gatorade.
Not if it's
on a
not
leash.
registered.
Yeah, it's a man-eating creature. I mean, you can't get much more dangerous than an alligator.
Well, I mean, like legally he can unless he registers it.
So this begs the question, though. Could you just get, like, anything registered as an emotional support animal? Like, could I get, like, a pig?
I'm pretty sure there are emotional support pigs.
Really?
Pig is a lot more rational than an alligator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to take it a step down. Like, could I get, like, any random, like, farm animal? Could I get a horse?
Oh, definitely.
Could I get a
Maybe
panda?
miniature horse.
I don't think you'd be able to bring it everywhere, but like you can still have it.
Could I get a panda? Could I bring a panda with me?
That's no, because having a panda as a pet
They're
is illegal.
endangered. They're also endangered. Yeah.
What about a sloth?
No, we already know a sloth. You already know you can't have sloths.
Dude, imagine how
them.
You would be the coolest kid on campus if you had an emotional support sloth.
Oh, totally.
Would you wear it like a backpack?
No,
How
I'd
else
have
would you
it.
carry it.
I'd have it walk around on a leash, dude.
Oh, that's fucked up.
No, sloths
have it,
can't
like,
walk on the ground well.
You gotta have it swinging from your neck or something.
Yeah, they hang.
No,
That's
they're
what they
big
do.
though. I wouldn't be able to carry a sloth around.
You could carry a sloth.
You can't make it walk either. You'd probably kill it.
What? How would I kill a sloth?
They're not built for that.
Yeah, Max, do you think you could wait? You could walk. Actually, it is you. But do you think you could, like, walk slow enough and, like, be fine with walking at a sloth pace everywhere you go?
Yeah, they're also very slow on the ground.
Yeah, that's their whole, like, thing.
I don't know. Maybe I get like one of those like baby carrying things. I just put a sloth in it.
Dude, just let it swing from your neck. You want everyone to, like, see it and comment on it.
Yeah. Status symbol.
They would see it like in like the chest like baby pouch thing.
Okay, yeah, but like, how cool would it be if you look like one of the dudes from like fucking Zaboomafoo with like instead of like a lemur, it's just a sloth.
Lemur would be cool.
Lemur would be a lot cooler than a sloth.
Yeah, because lemurs actually move.
Lemurs aren't they like kind of nasty though? Like, don't they bite and scratch?
Well, if it's an emotional support animal, it'll be trained, so that doesn't matter.
Yeah, they'd have to tame it.
I don't.
Yeah,
I didn't think they trained emotional support animals.
that's sort of the
They
whole
definitely
point.
do. They definitely do.
I
Like
thought it
people
was just
who
kind of. I thought it was just kind of a deal where like you bring in like your dog and you're like, yo, this is like this dog helps me with emotional support shit, and then they're like,
No.
all right,
no,
dog.
like Max, like people who want to get their dogs registered have to like, take classes and shit and like train
Yeah,
their
it's a whole
dogs with like
program.
specialists. It's a big thing.
So
Like
imagine
that's
coming
why.
to so imagine coming to the class with a sloth.
No, you wouldn't train the sloth. You'd buy it trained.
Oh,
Like
Yeah.
what?
that's only if you want your dog to like be trained. Then you would like bring your dog. But you can like straight up just get emotional support dogs that have already been trained.
All right, this requires some googling.
Also, an emotional support sloth that wouldn't even be close to my first pick for an emotional support animal. That's not a dog.
Yeah, I'm going
All right,
lemur.
give me your
Yeah,
give me your
I'm going monkey.
Give me monkey.
Yeah, there
Dude, why would
are
you want a
emotional
monkey?
support monkeys. There definitely are.
Yeah, but that's too human. I don't know. I think I'd rather have a lemur.
All right.
Well, monkey's more practical, I think.
No, they're bigger.
Well, no, it depends on. I'm not talking about chimpanzee. I'm
You're
talking
talking about
like
like
a
a capuchin.
yeah,
I
a
can
little
see
one.
that, but I think a lemur, like just the difference between a monkey and a lemur is cool enough for me. Like I'd rather have a lemur.
A ringtail lemur, like from Madagascar.
Yeah, dude. You're
All right.
fucking big bullion.
It does not look like they need to be trained.
Well, that's dangerous.
A
Yeah, that
service.
is.
It does
What?
not look like service dogs need to be trained at all.
That's pretty dangerous.
I'm pretty sure they do because I
I'm
remember
on
people.
I'm on the U.S. Dog Registry website.
Well, I'm just saying emotional support animals in general because I remember talking to people at school who wanted to get like their like little like pets to be certified, and like they
What
actually
kind
had
of
to like do shit like hedgehogs or like guinea pigs or.
emotional support hedgehog? That's just so far fetched to me.
It's very Leslie.
Yeah.
No, dude, that would be sick.
Why would you want a hedgehog? Those things are spiky.
You can paint him blue and call him Sonic like everyone else.
You get to carry him around and like in class, you have your hedgehog just like chilling on your desk.
No, they're little assholes. They want to burrow and everything.
Yeah,
And
they're
they
gonna
just
be
like
running
fucking tear apart
around.
your shirts, not shirts.
Remember
You
that
can't
kid in our
expect
high
it to
school who
stand
brought his
still.
lizard to school?
No,
No.
He
Explain.
he like hid it in his backpack all day. I think he was a bearded dragon.
that's fucking sick.
Also, I feel like that would stress out the animal a lot.
I mean, not hedgehogs. They'd like to be in like dark places.
Yeah, but a
Like,
bearded dragon.
yeah, a bearded dragon wouldn't fuck with that, but
No, they're chill. You just like put them in the bag and like pet them and take
Just
them
make
out
sure you
every
don't
so
drop
often.
it.
Yeah.
jostle it around, make him feel like he's gonna die.
No, you don't
Sick.
jostle him. You be gentle.
Well, if it were up to me, I would choose an emotional support bug. I would choose a giant jungle nymph, which is it's a very big stick insect. And I would just have it hang from like my shoulder or something.
Dan, so many people would not talk to you.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially
yeah.
because it has like its hind legs are really long and spiky, and when it gets threatened, it like brings them up and tries to whip it at like the attacker.
Yeah, that's like
And it
the
makes
opposite of a
noises.
conversation starter. Like it could be with certain people, but other people would just go, get away from me.
Probably smack it.
I don't think they'd smack it. I think they just wouldn't want to get close to it. They'd smack
Alright.
it if you like snuck up on them.
All right, picture this. Emotional support tortoise.
That'd be sick.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Get a little like wagon and wheel him
Alright.
around.
Yeah, I can back that.
And he's like chilling on your desk in school.
Yeah.
And, like,
Well, how
you're-
big are we talking?
Like medium size, probably.
Because tortoises have a wide range of
Yeah.
sizes.
Yeah, I'm thinking like the length of a computer monitor.
It's like a medium
That's-
one.
That's like that varies a lot, Max.
All right.
I mean, like inches.
Let's say like 1.5 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
get
then you're
behind
like
that.
you're like slipping him lettuce in class, like that'd be sick.
I don't think you have to slip him anything. I think people would just be like, "Oh, dude, fucking feed your tortoise. I want to watch."
All right, before we go, I have a would you rather.
Alrighty.
Would you rather drink half a glass of spoiled milk or one sip of dip spit?
How concentrated is the dip spit?
I don't know, like normal dip spit.
I've never encountered dip spit, so I don't know.
Yeah, what is dip spit?
It's
You know
like
that?
it's like chewing tobacco that you spit into a can when you're done
Oh,
with it.
okay. It's one sip versus how much spoiled milk?
Half a glass.
I think I'm gonna go with the dip spit.
You have to
I'm gonna go with
swallow.
the dip spit.
Dude, I'm going spoiled milk all day. I would do a full glass of spoiled milk over one sip of dip spit.
God
That's
damn.
Yeah, I would go with the dip spit only because of quantity. Like one sip is not much.
Yeah, but I will tell you, I accidentally started to drink a sip of dip spit once, and I didn't even swallow it, and I like the second it touched like the back of my tongue area, I immediately felt like I was gonna vomit.
But you're underestimating the power of spoiled milk. I
mean,
feel.
it's cheese.
No,
No.
Matt.
You think it's just cheddar coming out
It
of
is
that?
very much not just cheese.
Yeah, no.
I've smelt spoiled milk before, and I would much rather do that than dip spit. I don't even know if I could even swallow that dip spit without vomiting profusely.
I mean, same with
I'm on
the
the dip
spoiled
spit.
milk, but like that's a lot. But like the spoiled milk is like a longer experience you'd have to go through. That's my thing. I'd like down the dip spit real quick and then just pass out, I guess.
Well,
But like it's a lot less of like a drawn out experience.
I can picture myself doing the dip spit where I brace myself, I get my support tortoise over to me. And I just go for it. I get the sip and it's one and done, Versus having to chug that shit.
I think it's more just like quantity and like how long it'll take.
Dude, it's not one and done though. It's like it's bad. It's
Dude,
honestly...
get some orange juice and wash that shit down. It's just like cheese, man.
So it's just like eating tobacco, pretty much. But it's like someone spit.
It's absolutely disgusting. It is probably the most disgusting substance that you can sip on Earth.
Then why would people actually like form that in their own mouths? Like that's my thing. Like people form dip spit in their own like oral receptacles.
Yeah, so they had to taste it.
Yeah, and like
they don't swallow it though.
Yeah, but they tasted it. And tasting it's like 90% of the battle.
No,
yeah, definitely.
No, it's not.
Dude, if they can keep it in their mouth for like that long, like then it can't be that bad to fucking swallow. Like if they're actively chewing tobacco and just like chilling with that in their mouth, then I feel like it can't be that bad.
I could like chew a pencil in my mouth, but I could go to swallow it and throw up after because I'm swallowing a fucking pencil.
I mean, I don't think you'd throw up swallowing a pencil, like unless it's a full ass pencil.
Yeah, I'm thinking about a full ass pencil.
Yeah, but a full ass pencil isn't
that's
dip spit.
Like, and that's not liquid. That's like you wouldn't be throwing up because
it's deep throating
because of the shards embedded in your throat.
There's no way you can ever get me under any circumstance to swallow dip spit again.
There's no way you can get me to drink half a glass of spoiled milk.
Max, you are underestimating spoiled milk. I have tasted spoiled milk and I wanted to throw up immediately when I tasted it.
Even just smelling one time, like spoiled milk like spilled when I was a kid, and I fucking ran out of the room. It was so bad. It was like even just the smell was that disgusting.
Yeah, last year I accidentally sipped expired milk because I didn't know it was expired, and I literally wanted to throw up.
And I'm assuming it was only like lightly expired, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was not solid.
And I'm gonna guess that in this situation, this expired milk is like fucking beyond.
Well, we're not talking about like 6 years expired. We're just
Well,
talking
you
No, I'm
about
said
saying,
cheese.
like a month.
You said solid. You said
Okay,
there were
how
chunks in
about
it.
a month expired?
a month.
Yeah, would you still do it?
Yeah, over dip spit.
A
Jeez,
month, and it's
Max.
warm. It's lukewarm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been out in the living room on the windowsill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
imagine you just instead of like the pasta pot in your basement, replace that with a thing of milk, and
And
leave it
it's
for
the
just
summer.
as long.
It's the summer. It's been around like 75, 80 degrees the entire time.
Yeah,
So, that shit's warm. There's something
theoretically
brewing
the
in
summer.
there.
So like it's not even like, oh, it's expired, but it's cold and it'll go down quick, and I can just pretend it's actual milk.
Versus just tip spit. One wad.
I mean, I'll
little
admit
wad.
that dip spit seems fucking disgusting.
Yeah,
But
obviously.
like spoiled milk, especially 1 month spoiled milk, where it's like fully separated and chunky, like I think for me it's more dip spit would taste awful, consistency
Dip
wouldn't
spit
be
would
too
taste
too
worse.
bad, but the spoiled milk would taste awful on top of having a disgusting consistency.
And having to drink much more of it.
That too, definitely, because like you'd have to like chug that shit, but it'll be like too chunky to really chug. So like
You have to
odds are,
chew it.
yeah, no, you have to chew it, but like odds are it'll take like a couple of slurp sessions to get that like half glass down.
Yeah,
That's just my thoughts on that.
I'm still going with the milk, man. It was so unbelievably disgusting.
Have you ever had spoiled milk, Max?
I've smelt it.
That's not the
1
same
month
as tasting
spoiled,
it.
because that's a big difference.
I don't know, pretty spoiled.
How long
Was it
in
solid?
Yeah, there was curds and chunks in it.
there? Was it separated?
I don't know what you mean by separated.
Like
Was it milk and chunks?
Yeah.
No. What when it's separated, it's like the bottom of milk is like a slightly off white water, and the top is like really thick.
Oh,
That's
Yeah,
when milk's
that's
been like
nasty.
fully separated.
That's
I'm
what
pretty
you're
sure that's
drinking,
what it
Max.
was.
Like you could see through the water at the bottom a little bit.
Yeah.
Damn.
Why would? Oh.
And you'd rather drink that than dip spit?
Yeah.
What did you guys
All
just leave
day.
that in your fridge and neglect it for like a really long time?
Yeah, it was just kind of like forgotten in the way back.
Set it up next to Spike 2. And Spike 1. No, yeah, Spike 1.
Never
Alright.
forget.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, Max, your choice. I hate to say it, but your choice is wrong.
I mean,
You have a much
I
harder
think
time.
it has value, but I don't agree with it like at all.
I think
I respect you,
if-
Max.
theoretically, if you did do this challenge, you would have a much harder time drinking the milk.
No way.
You know what? Let's have a real life challenge.
Yeah, I'll leave some
Dan,
milk
set up
there.
the milk. I'll get the dip spit.
Who's
We'll
gonna
meet at my
chew it?
dorm. We'll have Pimp Juice chew it.
All right, cool.
Then we'll meet at my dorm. Let everything sit out in the window for a while. Get
Yeah,
Max
for a
the
month.
drinky.
The dip spit is just made that day.
It's fresh dip spit.
yeah, it is.
It's mama. No, how about it's mama bird into your mouth from the spitter.
Yeah, it just gets launched and it's baby bird fed into your mouth.
Yeah.
All right, and on that note, I think that's the end of the episode. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, add it to your favorites, tell your friends, do whatever the fuck you want with it if you enjoyed what you heard, and
Follow us on Vimeo.
If you didn't enjoy, leave a like anyways.
Yeah,
and
if you
give
if
us
you
constructive criticism.
if you didn't
Yeah.
We
enjoy
want to improve.
if you didn't enjoy, you should probably burn in hell later.